the whole woman. So here we have a case of fibroid, we have hidden infection, and the biggest challenge is now, nobody was able to explain to you about the real root cause. Yatago. Mana, I will tell you expressly today that now the fibroid that is growing in your womb is not the problem. Because a lot of people can wear fibroid, and at the end of the day, they will want to go and do surgery. After surgery, the fibroid will come back because they didn't understand that the fibroid is not the problem. And you notice sometimes infection can keep coming back, no matter how many antibiotics that you take. So that you see that the infection, again, is not the problem. And that, my module of practice is completely different from mainstream practice and what is obtainable in the 99% of medical practitioners. The reason is because I look at the root cause. I don't want to treat disease from the surface. If you, over the years, since you have had this issue, cropping up and creeping in, you can notice that you have done a lot of things. You have done a lot of things. You have taken a lot of herbal, antibiotics, different medications, but nobody have really sat down to look inside and understand. Now, the so-called, when I saw your skin you showed on the sea, on the distance, what I noticed, you also have a low energy, you have heavy periods, you have bloating, but all these things is just the body telling you something that nobody have stopped to tell you for a long time. So that is why I do this podcast. I call it the Healing Humanity Podcast. And the reason is to open up a lot of unknown things to the people. And my practice and approach is an integrative one. Okay? So that's why in this short while, what we do that is that we're going to go deep. Okay? So you have sent me some lab tests, some scan. So we're going to walk through all those things together so that by the end you will understand not just what is happening to your body, but how you will solve the problem. Okay? So if I give you 2 minutes, can you just give me a brief of what happened to you or what is going on now?
That's what I'm saying. I don't really understand what is going on because last time that I I just wake up, I feel weak. I rush to hospital. They say there's growth in my private part. They say that this macheting of a thing that I should go and learn this they call it pap smear. I let them confirm that what is going on, which I went to UPTH. UPTH, they examined me almost 2 times. They said I cannot be able to see anything. I said I should go to mammogram, which I went. They said I will, but I'm still macheting up. But now all what I'm eating, I don't really understand what is going on with it.
What's going
When
on?
I
Yeah.
lie down, when I lie down with this my right hand, sometimes I will feel that something is doing boom, boom, boom inside my. I don't know whether it's chest or liver. Which I still rush to hospital, go and tell doctor. He said I should go and do liver ultrasound, which I went. They said I no see anything. So I'm just confused. I don't know why I'm macheting.
All right. Very quickly, because already you showed me in the background that now you are raising beds, okay? For how
Mm.
long have you been in the business of raising beds?
Since 3 years ago now.
Now you see, for how long have you had this diagnosis?
It's getting to forget me just go 4 years. This thing started before even the business, but it's not like as it is now. As you can see now, that first picture I showed you is when that
Mm.
thing started. It's not even how I am, or it's when the thing started. Before you know, I keep on macheting, macheting. If I go to hospital, they say, "Madam, why are you worrying yourself?" I say, "Why am I worrying?" As you can see, every day I keep on macheting. Look at how I am. I say, "Madam, go and be eating, go and be eating." But I continue. Well, before Sister Kelechi now say I should explain this thing to you.
All right. You know why I ask these questions is because I am also the kind of person that want to look at the environment where you stay,
Yes.
including your
Mm,
room, including the
yes.
bed that you lie on.
Yes.
Because
Yes.
when we talk about disease coming from either nature or nurture, nurture
Mm,
has to cover a lot of things. It has to
yes.
also look at hygiene. Because sometimes you
Mm,
can live, I've had hundreds of cases of people who are having respiratory issue or skin issue as a
mm,
result of mold in their
environment.
rooms. And some of them, you
Mm,
may not even see the mold on the wall, but the mold will be locking inside the pillow. I'm telling you quite frankly. So now, it's just 3 years that you have been in the business of raising birds, okay? But
mm,
uh,
yes.
but now the diagnosis came before that. So
Mm,
because of that, we can be able to rule that out. But that's how I want you to think. That's why I want you to be able to make connections so that you will see that it's not just about the scans that you have gone to, because what a scan will show is an effect. A scan cannot show the root cause of a condition. Do you understand what I mean? If you have fibroid or you are having
mm,
pain, you are having overflowing menstruation, it's flowing, too much, and you get to the hospital and they say you have fibroid after the scan, do you know that it's not the problem? The root cause of the problem is not the fibroid. The fibroid is an effect of the problem. The blood flow is an effect of the problem. Because if eventually you cut out the fibroid, that does not mean you have solved the reason why the fibroid came in the first place. So,
yes.
Ada, I've seen the folders that you have submitted to me, and these results I say would have been sitting for long without being addressed, or maybe they were partially addressed for months now. And you said you have been to hospitals, you have done scans, you have had antibiotics, you have been told a lot of things, but I see that nobody would have been able to connect the dots for you. And nobody has sat down and said, here is the reason why this
The
issue
problem.
is. And that is what I want us to do now in this short period of time. I want us to, conclude this thing with you having answers in mind and knowing how precisely to solve the problem. All right, by putting on your detective cap, being able to think back and understand, where is this issue coming from? Is it from the cream that you used 4 years ago, or you were using even 4 years ago? Because there could be accumulation. It could be something that have been brewing for 10 years, but the manifestation
Mm,
started 4 years ago. I want you to understand that you need to think deep, because if you rely only on, okay, let us go to hospital now and do a scan, you may not really truly find. In fact, that's what has been happening with you in the past years. Because, of course, you have been spending money in the hospital trying to research and find out. But here, I'm going to show you how we put up our detective cap. But meanwhile, I can tell you most assuredly that we'll be able to solve this your issue within 6 weeks. And that is what being
okay.
integrative means, because we are able to ask questions that most doctors and most clinic will not ask. And now,
Mm,
why did your body allow this to happen? I told you that in your own situation, we have a fibroid conversation. That is one. You did a
mm,
scan at Splendor Diagnostic Center in April, and that came back with an impression that you have multiple uterine myomas. That's fibroid. You have two fibroids, and one is sitting in the posterior wall of your uterus, measuring about 31 millimeters, and the other one is sitting at the anterior wall, measuring about 34 millimeters. And that's roughly the size of a large grape each, okay? Now,
okay.
there are a lot of women that are under the sound of my voice, and they have been told they have this fibroid. But I need everybody to understand carefully. A fibroid is not a diagnosis, it is a symptom. It is your body's response to an internal environment that has gone out of balance. And the primary driver of that environment in the majority of fibroid cases is what I call estrogen dominance. Now, do you know this estrogen dominance? And I know you would have heard several times about hormonal imbalance.
Yes, sir.
Several times. I know you'd have heard, you know about the estrogen and progesterone. You know everything. You know about, because as a woman, it's most common. And for most women under the sound of my voice who are, menopausal or having menopausal symptom, they are now taking
Mm,
hormonal drugs to try to control. Even some women that take contraceptive drugs, there are some of them that are hormonal based. Because if you control the hormone, you can restrict things in the body. But when you always try to force out or try to stop normal processes in the body, you are creating a loophole in the body. You are weakening the body. I don't know your history. I don't know, maybe when you were much younger, for any reason, you took any kind of chemical drug. For any reason. For any reason. It could be that maybe there was a time when you had several infections and you decided to go on, antibiotics, or go on. It could even be herbs, but your intention was to try to solve that problem at that time. It could be that when you were much younger, when you started menstruating, you were having dysmenorrhea, that is painful menstruation, and you were using painkillers. You understand? It could be anything, but anything that have allowed an assault to the body, an introduction to the body of mainstream chemical or petrochemical medications, can alter your hormonal balance. And that estrogen dominance simply means that your body has had too much of estrogen related to the progesterone that it needs. So when the estrogen goes unchecked, that is when there is not enough progesterone to balance it. That will create an environment in the uterus that is quite literally a fertile ground for fibroids. Not only fibroids, in some women, it could be endometriosis. In some women, it could be PCO, that is polycystic ovarian syndrome. In some women, it could be ovarian cyst. It could be anything. In some people, it can develop to cancer, cervical cancer, ovarian cancer, and what have you. Any kind of growth in the body could be linked either to estrogen imbalance or to insulin resistance. So the critical question that nobody asks is, why does the body have too much estrogen? Now and again, before I talk about the liver, do you know that anytime you eat foods that have some kind of chemicals, especially chemicals that look like you need to become a professor in chemistry before you read those chemicals. Most of those foods, you take up the foods that have baggages and bars and sitting in a can, sitting in a carton, and they have labels. And in that label, you read the nutrition fact label. You are looking at words that you need to be a chemistry professor before you pronounce those words. These mostly are xenoestrogens. When you drink water that is coming from a water bottle or sachet, and that sachet has been under the sun and it has been heat under the sun under certain temperatures, it will release dioxin into the water, and you take that water, you drink, it is a xenoestrogen. When you apply some kind of relaxers or cosmetics, anything you apply on your skin that you cannot put in your mouth if you are asked to, can release, can change, can alter your hormonal balance. So if you overwhelm the body by introducing all these other things that alter your hormone, you will now overburden the liver. Do you know that the liver is responsible for the breakdown and excretion of estrogen? So if for any reason the liver becomes overwhelmed because it has done so much work, so it's not able now to meet up with its target, because the liver, of course, has several things to do, not only to detox you of excess estrogen. The liver also detox you of medication residues. So all the medication. So there are several things that you can do that will be affecting the liver. So it will be, even when you are raising, you are in agriculture and you are raising birds, you are using glyphosate or you are using any kind of chemicals. You are into crop farming, you're using fertilizers, any chemicals. So long as these chemicals, you are breathing them in, they are touching your body. Or maybe you are into cleaning. As a woman, you used to wash with detergent every time you are washing, like somebody that have a mini dry cleaning services. Okay, these things
Mm.
will find their way through what is called osmosis. Will find their way from the region of higher concentration to a region of lower concentration. So it will get into your body eventually, and chemicals can alter your hormones. So if the liver becomes overwhelmed by its maybe inability to perform its function, because at the end of the day, now if I tell you that you have to start taking lemon water in the morning, you'll be asking me what is the connection between lemon water to help the liver? What is the connection between what you are suffering from? It will seem like it doesn't have a connection. But why I'm painting all this picture is for you to understand that I am integrative. And the only way we can solve problems is to put on our detective cap to understand why the problem came in the first place. Because you were not born with this condition. Even if you were born with it, we're able to search deeper to understand the mother that gave birth to you. What really happened? Why did she give birth to you to be, deformed in such a way that you are having that condition? So could it be that the liver is overwhelmed? Or could it be that your gut microbiome is disrupted? Because do you know that the gut microbiome is the seat of hormone production? All the hormones that you know, including the feel-good hormone, the serotonin, the love hormone, the oxytocin, the dopamine, happiness hormone, these are all synthesized in the gut. So when maybe you take foods that have preservatives, that will alter your gut microbiome, and the things your gut microbiome should have helped you to achieve as regards to balance in your hormone, it won't do that again. So that's what I'm saying, is so that when I tell you now that we need to eat more fermented foods to try to restore your gut microbiome to do its activities and to restore you back to health, you might be in that and say, what is the connection of a fermented food like yogurt, like sauerkraut, like kimchi, like kombucha? What connection does ogiri, baka, and the ogi and all those fermented things? What condition? What impact do they have in the condition you have on the body? But that is what I call integrative. So that's why you don't because of course I can tell you, okay, try oregano oil. I have hundred of list of things I can say that you should try, but it's not in trying, because I don't want to continue again to overpower the body. I don't want to continue to weaken the immune system. I don't want to continue to damage the gut. The first principle of any practitioner, any true practitioner, is to do no harm. So what we look at is, what is the safest thing that you can do at this material point in time? Am I speaking too much, Ada? The
I'm
way,
hearing you.
you are resting your head, is the grammar too much?
You know, we are doing it so we can be in safety side, because anyone who wants me to do, I will do it too. Even though fermenting or not, I will do it so that I will be, because I want to travel in this December. I cannot be like this and travel.
No, 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 you cannot be like this. I can assure you. December is far. I
Amen.
said 6 weeks. Because what we want to
Amen.
do is a complete, what is called sanitation. I did a
Yes.
little sanitation now in my kitchen.
Okay.
And when it calls sanitation, I have to cover my nose and do real sanitation work. Okay?
Yes, sir.
We want to cut
Okay.
out every source of xenoestrogens,
Mm.
chemicals in plastic, chemicals in processed food, chemicals in skincare product. These things will mimic estrogen in your body. And in your case, I believe that all these three things are in play. And we will come back to why in just a moment. But I want to say this first. Surgery can remove a fibroid, of course. Of course, they would have suggested for you surgery. But if you do not address the soil, the hormonal environment, another one will grow. It's not a wish, it's not a prayer, it's the fact. Because women in your clan, women that are your friends who have had surgery before and they came back again. You have seen it before. I have seen it thousands of times. So I do not want it to happen to you. And I do not want it to happen to anybody related to you, especially after you hear me direct talking to you one-on-one. I don't want you to appear in any other place and they're saying that you have this condition. I would have been a failure. Okay? Infection that I want us to look at now, because I checked your urine culture. It came back with heavy growth of staphylococcus, a bacteria. And again, you had the genital swab. It came back with heavy growth of staphylococcus. That's alongside a moderate growth of candida. And candida is a yeast. So at the same time, these two things are cited. And here is what made it even more serious. When they tested with antibiotics, you know, that's what is called sensitivity test. I know you are aware of that. Okay. But that sensitivity showed that the staphylococcus is now resistant to ciprofloxacin, is resistant to amoxicillin, is resistant to gentamicin, is resistant to cephalosporin. It means that you would have used all those antibiotics in the past, okay? And now those organisms have become resistant to them. You know, this is one of the biggest challenges that we have, the use and abuse of antibiotics, including prescribed antibiotics. Remember, Ada, I am 100%, in fact, 101% interested in your health and in you getting well, okay? So
Mm.
if I see what is wrong, I will confess. Because if you go to the hospital now and they will tell you, oh, it's just resistant, well, let's test another one. And there must be ones that it is sensitive to. But they will not ask themselves, why have you grown resistance to these ones? And why will happen in future if they now exhaust every available option? And they will now tell you, Ada, go to the house, we cannot help you anymore. Because all the antibiotics that we know to use, we have exhausted it. Why will women be subjected to a continuous use and abuse of prescription antibiotics? Well, it's because of half-baked knowledge, especially in most practitioners. Unfortunately, most sincerely, practitioners will want you to get well. But understanding the strategy, because practicing requires a lot of thoughtful approach. Okay?
Yes, sir.
Because if we don't address, if I say, okay, now that we have seen that these ones are resistant, let's find another one, that you can use now. Maybe I give you, I say, go and take augmentin. And at the end of the day, again, augmentin becomes resistant again. So you go to another person, they give you another one. So nobody sits down to ask, how can we avert this process of continuous use and abuse of antibiotics? Why not let's make a little change? And then the person will think of, okay, let's build your gut microbiome. Because what you feed on will grow. That is life. Anything you feed grows. Anything you feed grows. So don't worry. We, by God's grace and by your discipline, I believe that we have what it takes to solve the problem. Okay.
Okay.
So this matters a lot for me because it tells us that something very important about how long this infection have been present and about the state of your immune system. When bacteria becomes resistant to multiple antibiotics, it usually shows that there could be something wrong. Either the patient has been exposed to many antibiotics over time, which now desensitizes the bacteria, or that the infection has been sitting in the body long enough to adapt and to evolve. In either case, the message is the same. Your immune system have been losing the battle for a long time. So we need to work on your immune system. And here is where it gets interesting. From an integrative perspective, the candida, that yeast, alongside the bacteria, is not a coincidence. Every time you see candida overgrowth, it's always almost a sign of gut microbiome disruption. Ada, did you hear what I said?
Yes, sir.
Every time from today, I will make you a detective in the medical profession. Every time you hear a woman complain of, oh, candida, they have yeast infection, it is a a sign that the gut microbiome is disrupted. Do you know what is the gut microbiome?
No, sir.
Ada, Ada,
Sir,
are you a Christian or are you are you a Muslim?
does Igbo people, any of Igbo people is Muslim? All of us is Christian.
Well, why I want to say this is because I have noticed that, do you know that the things that we do not see controls the things that we see? You know, when the Bible says that, we will be thinking it's only about spirits, that the spirit, maybe there's witchcraft, there's that these people are causing somebody, they make the person not to prosper or not to move ahead. But what I'm saying in actual science is that there are microbes that you cannot see with your eyes, but they control you. They determine how long you are going to live. They determine if the food you eat will digest. They determine if your immune system will be strong. They determine if your metabolism will be good. They determine if you will be happy. Do you know, I have helped a mad woman restore her gut microbiome with yogurt, and she became well, and madness went away. They will determine your sanity. They will determine your happiness. They will determine, I'm talking about microbes in your gut that are put there. A lot of people come to me and say they have indigestion. That means they eat food, and when they lie down, it will look as if they're having reflux. They have a lot of gut issues. They have flatulence, they have gastritis, indigestion, constipation. And when I look at these issues, I sense abuse of the gut microbiome by just taking all sorts of antibiotics. You know, there was a client I was consulting, a patient rather. You know, this patient said when she has headache, she just take augmentin and the headache will go. And I'm laughing. Just imagine when somebody have headache, you take augmentin. That means instead of even to take Panadol, you take augmentin, because maybe she saw somebody take augmentin. So when she has any case, she just take augmentin.
it will go.
And now when she came to me, the kind of pain, at that point, she's having cervical cancer. So I was not able to link, and I've been able to link. I have seen a direct correlation. I don't know if it's a big English. A direct correlation means that the more the destruction of the gut, the more the proliferation of cancers. So if not that me and you met today, we don't know where this particular condition is going to. So I'm happy that you came to my inbox and we chatted and we are solving the problem. Because I can tell you point blank that in 6 weeks, this thing you are seeing now, you will not see it again. I'm not joking. I'm not teasing you. It has been there for 3 years, but I can tell you, if you do what I will ask you to do, in 6 weeks, these things you are seeing, you will not see them again. You will not have any need to go to the hospital to go and waste your time and your money in the hospital. Restore your gut. Restore your gut. That is the only way out. Restore your gut. Remember that in our group, you saw the woman that said she cured her cancer by eating ogiri. It was shared in our group. So it's not me, it's not me. I didn't give
Mm,
her money bribe to come and say it. She said she's eating ogiri and she cured cancer. And somebody will sit down somewhere and be asking, what is the connection between ogiri and cancer?
and
There is no
cancer.
connection. However, I've often said that the health of the gut is the reason why you have cancer or you won't have cancer. I've often said the health of the gut. So all this, somebody come and say he has allergy or he has autoimmune disease, or somebody will come and say he has. Some people are diabetic because their gut is compromised. Because if they have the right microbes in the gut, they will have better sugar metabolism. You know what is sugar metabolism? When somebody eats something like rice or eat gari or eat yam, the person blood sugar will not shoot up. Not because the person ate a ketogenic food. No, it's because of the gut microbiome, the strength of the gut microbiome to work on that food and trash the sugar. It's the same microbes that we cannot see that changes that cabbage to sauerkraut. It's the same microbes that changes the akamo that you soak. The same microbe that changes the cassava that my grandmother from the maternal side will soak in the village for 6 days. That same microbe will change that sweet cassava into fermented and rottening apple that we eat as fufu. The same microbe will turn milk that is very sweet into yogurt that is sour. If that microbe is in your gut, it can change your sugar metabolism and it can determine your healing. So, but if you continue to feed your gut the wrong thing, it is a problem. So, you see, when I say it's integrative, you are now beginning to understand that this little session I'm having with you is making a lot of sense. Even if the sense is not made now, if you now sit down to analyze, okay, this is where you can be able to begin to link to how come these issues came up, trying to open your eyes because you see a lot of people will die not because they don't have money or to go to hospital, not even that they don't have money to travel abroad, but ignorance. Not because they don't want to learn, no, but because nobody showed them the way. A lot of people desire knowledge, oh, but the only knowledge that we find is not the beneficial knowledge. They only find knowledge that nobody helps them to open the eyes to really understand what even doctors, some doctors may not know what I'm sharing with you today. I'm not joking. So what I'm sharing, I won't say it's revealed by God, but sometimes the part of a man can be orchestrated by God. So for me to be sharing this thing with you, maybe my part is orchestrated by God because I have had that similar pain that you have. I've had somebody, my mother, who had cancer, went through pain and died. And I decided in my life, I said, no, there has to be a way out. We all cannot, cancer cannot finish us. And that's why I decided I continue to research. And when and I read even what the doctor or the author that is writing the book is not saying. I want to know if the doctor said that A is A. I want to know why is that A. If he say B is B, I want to say why is B B? Or did he say B is B because somebody told him B is B? Is it from personal conviction or is it from real life story? Because I saw my mother real life dying and I couldn't help. And the doctors were telling her that she's fine, but she's on medication. At the end of the day, it's a tramadol that damaged her liver and took her life. And yet she had cancer. So it's not even the cancer. So what if that's why, like when I'm fighting cancer, I fight it intelligently. I don't say, okay, how do we exterminate cancer? No. I say, if you want to kill cancer, still keep the liver on, keep the kidney on, let the body still be functioning. You don't want to deliver the person from cancer and the person die from infection. So what is the benefit? Why did the person spend millions? Do you know how much somebody spent 549,000 on one session of chemotherapy? 500 and how many people in Nigeria can afford that? And somebody will spend all that money and still die amputated. Somebody will spend all that money and still die. The family will be in debt. And the problem is not solved. Ignorance. So what I'm sharing with you, I am 110% sure that you don't have any problem except this one I'm telling you. If we restore your gut, we solve all your problem. The decade-long practitioner, they say diseases start in the gut. People don't understand when they say that disease start in the gut. They are thinking, oh, what? How can that disease? How can it start in the gut? What is the connection between the gut? People now want to divide health. They have to. They want to have doctors that look at the eyes and the one that look at the teeth and the one that look at the body is interconnected. The teeth is you, the eyes is you, the heart is you, the liver is you. There is no separation. You are just a bundle of cells. Whenever there is a deformity, correct it. It's either add more nutrients to rebuild the gut, rebuild the immune system, and remove the toxins that is causing harm and assault on the body, and you are well. I mean, 110% of the time, you are well, except if there's a damage beyond repair already. Maybe the kidney have packed out and nothing you can do. I've seen people with very serious kidney problem on dialysis. I say, no, they're not supposed to be there. if they're still peeing at all, can you suspend the activities of the kidney and restore the kidney just by using the skin as a detoxin? Get the person to do more sauna, more steam inhalation, heat the body up, get all the impurities in the blood to get out of the skin, and the kidney will have time to recoup and have the energy. So what I'm saying in your case is that it's not just about, when I talk about the community of trillions of bacteria that are living in your gut specifically, it's not just about digestion. It regulates your immune system, it metabolizes your hormone, it produces neurotransmitters that will affect your mood. As we say it in integrative medicine, your gut is the center of everything. When the microbiome is disrupted by antibiotics, by sugar, by stress, by processed food, that is when candida takes over. And when candida takes over, your immune defense will drop. And when your immune defense drops, resistant bacteria will now find a home in your gut. So this is a triangle that you have been cutting. A disrupted microbiome, a suppressed immune system, and resistant infection. And that will continue to worsen the hormonal imbalance, the fibroid growth, and the progression. According to my 17-year-old practice, the next will be tumors, cancers, but it's not the case for you because we are going to interrupt it in 6 weeks. So that's why I said everything is connected, and that is the integrative lens. And that lens changed everything about how I want us to address your condition. Now, and again, in your submission, what your blood is saying, there's something that most people would miss if they were not looking with this kind of detective eye. I want me and you to use to look in this thing. Remember that your hemoglobin is 12.9. For a woman, the normal range will start from 11.5. So technically, you are within range. But see, most doctors will look at that and say it is normal, and they will move on. But for me, we do not ask, is this normal? We ask, is this optimal? At 12.9, for a woman carrying a fibroid burden, fighting an infection, and likely you are losing extra blood, especially during your cycle, is 12.9 normal? Is it optimal? It is borderline. And borderline means that your body is working harder than it should to maintain function. Now, here is the result that I want you and I, Ada, to focus on. Ada, where are you? Are you with your beds? Can I see your beds? Are you inside your beds?
No,
Your this thing, your poultry? Hmm?
I'm in brooding room side, but birds they
Oh,
are
you have
doing
a
cleaning
poultry
on
room
it.
as well.
I don't know whether I can see them.
Yes,
I
yeah. Oh, do you have how
yes, I
many?
have
There are
breeding.
more than
I have
how many thousands do you have? There are so many. Is
no,
that
we are
your
not up to thousand. We are still in 500.
500?
We are,
Maybe your phone is digital phone. It's
we are,
made by Elon Musk. So it changed the picture to look like 1,000. Anyway,
no, they are not
congratulations.
up to 1,000. We are still, you are
Congratulations
welcome,
because
sir.
you are part of the people feeding the nation. So again, I checked
We are
your
still.
yeah, of course, it's good. I will send you the link for the BSF fly, the Black Soldier fly, because it will help you along. It will help you immensely. It will save you 70% of the cost of buying feed. Okay.
Okay, sir.
All
Okay,
right.
sir.
I noticed that your sodium came back at 130.2 millimoles per liter, but the normal range is 135 to 165. So you are below normal range, and that is called hyponatremia. So low sodium can mean a few things, but in a woman that have presented this infection and fibroid burden, that kind of fatigue that I suspect that you have been carrying silently for months is as a result somebody gets to the hospital. Usually what they put the person on a drip called normal saline. Do you know it's sodium? Normal saline. When somebody comes to the hospital and you see the person is critically ill, they want to put the person on normal saline. So you can see when you have
Okay.
low sodium, you can be having little weakness here and there. It's a red flag, and that is what is called adrenal fatigue. The adrenal gland, it sits on top of your kidneys, and they produce a hormone that is called aldosterone, which will regulate your sodium and your fluid balance. And they also produce cortisols. Cortisol is what we call the stress hormone. So when your adrenal gland is exhausted, is overworked because of stress, because of chronic infection, because of chronic inflammation, you will see that the adrenals will stop managing sodium properly. And that is when your sodium levels will drop. And when sodium drops, everything slows down. Energy drops, your brain fog, the body struggles to mount an immune response, and hormone regulation becomes even harder. So I also sense that your adrenals are tired, but nobody told you that. And there is more again I want to mention in your potassium is 3.4, the very bottom of the normal range. So your chloride is at 113, the very top of the normal range. And these electrolyte patterns taken together with the low sodium will paint a picture of a body whose internal chemistry is under strain. And yet, all of this I will address. They are very simple. So I'm not trying to put fear in you. All right. Again, your skin never lies. You shared a photograph of your skin, if you remember, and I want to talk about this because I think that many people will underestimate how much the skin will reveal about your internal health. The images that I saw both on your neck and on your hand, they show again severe dryness. That was not what you planned to show me. Oh. You just planned to show me the lumps, remember? But I noticed dryness and I noticed thickening of the skin on the wrist. And that is what we call lynchenification. It's a cluster of inflamed follicular bumps at the back of your neck and your hairline. Now, looking at the dry skin, you might think that maybe you need to moisturize. So some women will go and start applying moisturizer. You notice that when somebody have a dry skin, you go and buy a moisturizer. You don't know that this is coming from inside. You
Yes,
just
I
need to
noticed
drink more
that.
water. But, eh?
I noticed that that thing is
You
coming
just
from
need to,
inside.
it's from inside. So you just need more hydration. That's why I say hydration matters. Because as you are doing this work now, sometimes you may forget to drink water. So when we say you need to carry with you a big bottle of water so you can measure what amount of water you are taking in a day, I do the same. My own is 1.5 liters, my water bottle. What as I'm driving out now after this session with you, I will carry it along. Meanwhile, if you see how I'm dressed, you see the weather is very hot now in the UK. Okay, so hydration matters. So that level of dryness I'm seeing, apart from the lumps there, you need to drink more water. Remember, there was a particular podcast I did where I talked about instead of water, take more electrolyte rich fluids. So that's where you can talk about the juicing. You take all sorts of juices. You can take carrot juice, moringa juice, um, beetroot juice, cauliflower juice. You can blend, celery, onions, all those things, add it. You can just have something like a smoothie that you different vegetables that have different minerals and vitamins and put it in a fridge. Whenever you want to drink water, just take a spoon and scoop it and put in the water and turn and drink. Remember that when you are sweating, you are not using just water. Oh. That's why if you ever happen to test your sweat, it's not testing plain like water, it's testing salty. That salt means there are other minerals that you are using. So when I want to talk about really hydrating, I talk about adding, both vegetable infused water, all sorts of altered and high dense nutrient water. As a matter of fact, I'm working on a proprietary blend that will solve a lot of problems as regards to getting the maximum amount or optimal amount of nourishment we need from plants. Just take it as a powder, add to your water, and drink, and you go your way. You'll be fine. Again, I notice this severe cirrhosis, that is the degree of dryness, alongside the folliculitis, alongside the findings that we have discussed, it points strongly to zinc deficiency. Zinc deficiency and the essential fatty acid depletion. So apart from rebuilding your immunity, apart from rebuilding your gut microbiome, we will also look at your hydration, especially with electrolytes, and then with you adding zinc. Do you know that zinc is one of the most important minerals for immune function? And nobody would have told you this in the past 3 years that you had this diagnosis and started going to the hospital. Nobody would have even suggested kind of foods where you can get zinc from. Nobody would have told you about the sesame seed, about the nut, the pistachio, the almond, the cashew nut, the walnut, the Brazil nut. Nobody would have told you about consuming this thing. But I'm telling you today, because you need these things to rev up your immune function. Okay, never again will you have need for abuse and use of antibiotics. If you build your body the way I want you to do it now, your friends will have malaria because you slept in the same room and you won't have it. You will go to a camp meeting where they will have a hospital a toilet infection, and you will use the same toilet, you won't have it because you are now a different breed. Now, because of your discipline to the principles I'm teaching you. So it will require lots of introduction of these nutrients to the body because zinc, like I said earlier, is critical for your skin barrier and integrity. It's essential for healing of wound, for hormone production. That's why for most people that have cancer, especially breast cancer that now have open wounds or forgetting wounds or wound producing pus, you will notice I usually recommend nuts so that they can have lots of zinc to try to heal the wound. And not just for to heal the wound, for hormone production, because these things are necessary for you to keep afloat, for homeostasis to happen. When zinc is depleted, and you see, zinc is commonly depleted in women when they have chronic infections, when they have fibroid burden, when they have gut dysbiosis, the skin becomes dry, the immune system weakens, the follicles become inflamed, and healing slows down. So your skin is showing us exactly what is happening inside of you, the deficiency that we have inside of you. So in my own practice, I call this reading the whole body reading. It's not just about the numbers, it's not just about the scan, but it's about you that I am seeing. And I saw you send me lots of your pictures, like Abane Darego. I'm happy when I see the pictures. I know it's for me to observe carefully what have changed for some years in you, but it's well appreciated. But it's good for me to have an understanding and be able to share my thoughts as I'm sharing them with you now. So let me try to bring all these things in a way you will understand it. Because what my intention is not to put fear in you, is to bring answers to you. I'm going to walk you through 5 pillars so that your healing will be established. And I want you to listen carefully because many people, this principle, people don't find it, they don't, it's not easy for some people to apply, okay? They're dealing with fibroid, hormonal imbalance, and chronic infection. Now, one of the pillar is the anti-estrogenic nutrition. And that will do your world a favor if you can take note, if you have 2 phones, or if you can find another phone and record this, okay? Every meal you are eating is a medicine. Your diet must now actively work to reduce excess estrogen. That means you will eat lots of cruciferous vegetables. Do you know the cruciferous vegetables?
Yes, sir.
The cruciferous vegetables. So,
Yes, sir.
as you are taking care of your breast, I don't expect you to be eating biscuits. I don't expect you to be eating cake. I don't expect you to be eating buttered bread. I don't expect you to be eating chin chin. but you can eat garden egg, you can eat water leaf, you can eat carrot, you can eat cucumber. Okay,
And cabbage.
so because I'm looking at a compound that is very rich in some of the vegetables. I call it the DIM, the dindolimethane. Dindolimethane. That will support the liver in breaking down and excreting excess estrogen from your body. So I rightly mentioned here about flaxseed. You see, if you can have flaxseed, 1 to 2 tablespoons daily. Let me give you a very wonderful approach I use for my own personal flaxseed. When I make my guacamole, I chop avocado, the flesh of avocado, not the seed, just the flesh in a blender. I chop the flesh in a blender and I chop as much nuts I can get. So if I can get up to 6 types of nuts, I've mentioned them before, I'll mention them again for your note. I talked about the pistachio nut, the almond nut, the walnut, the Brazil nut, the cashew nut. Why I'm scared of the granite is aflatoxin. Granite is good and it's rich. But if you must eat granite, please let it be fresh one because all those ones that have been, processed and kept for months, when you eat them, you will be, chewing something like sand inside it. That sand sometimes is not sand. Sometimes it is aflatoxin. Or when you see those granite that when you look at inside, some of them will look like they are suffering leprosy. That is aflatoxin. Or when you see some granite, you see some of them that will have something like the like nets in it. All these spider nets. What is it called again? You see it inside it, you have to be very careful with such things. So that's why I say if you process your own fresh granite, try it yourself or roast it yourself, however you want it, and put it in your guacamole. It's okay for me. Okay, it's okay for me. So and yeah, I add my own flaxseed. You know, so because flaxseed contains something that will help us. It's called the lignan. Lignans will compete with estrogen at the receptor site and they will block the effects of estrogens. You see why I recommend flaxseed? You see why in the two most successful cancer therapies, number one is the Gerson therapy, number two is the oxduket therapy. These therapies recommend flaxseed and the flaxseed oil because, first of all, they are ketogenic and they will help for healing to happen. And if it is a hormone-based cancer, like of course, high estrogen can cause cancer. In fact, why most women have cancer, I could say, is high estrogen. Why most men have cancer, I could say, is insulin resistance. Okay, so all these hormones they are good in the body to control some things, but when they are in excess, it's a problem. God created us to have balance. Okay, but because of a lot of artificial activities that man engages in, we don't have that balance. The body now continues to struggle to come into that balance. Okay. Now, at that, you are going to be taking high fiber food. Okay, high fiber foods, and you are going to cut down mostly carbohydrates. Okay. Now, one of the proprietary blends I use for your swallow. I am against garri, against semo, against poundo yam, against plantain, against. I only support vegetable blends, especially if you have a condition and you want to heal. You want to have all sorts of fiber in your gut to help the gut microbiome. Okay, so I use cauliflower, cabbage, broccoli, celery, beetroot, carrot, garden egg. All these things you can blend in a blender, separate the juice, keep it for your use, and take the pulp, chuck it into a pot, cook it for 2 3 minutes, add oat fiber or oat flour to it, to thicken it so it will become your fufu. I give you 6 weeks, and I kid you not, 6 weeks of being disciplined, and you'll be able to solve this problem. So cut out any xynoestrogen. These xynoestrogens are things that mimic estrogen in the body. You find them hiding in plastics. Don't boil with plastic. Don't cook with plastic. When you are cooking your bambara nut, hold up, but please don't put it in plastic. And any other kind of thing, moi, don't put it in plastic. Don't drink water that is in plastic and kept under the sun for long. Instead, buy a filter. Go to the stream, collect water, let your filter the water for you. Okay? You can cook it first and pour it in the filter. So if there are some germs in the water, cooking will kill them. Then filter will remove all the other impurities in the water. You can take rainwater is the best form of distilled water. But make sure you allow for a few minutes for the rain to take out the impurities in the air before you take the main water that you can collect for your drinking. Okay? But still try to put it through filter. You don't lose anything. Okay? All the
Okay, sir.
soil, like you make soil and add for your bed. Soil also have that xyloestrogen. So avoid soil, okay? For you, especially because of this case, no refined sugar, no fried food, okay? Stop storing your hot food in plastic containers. Some people when they cook in the pot, they will just pour. You want to pour the soup because maybe you are going to the market. If you leave the soup in the pot, it will spoil. So you want to put it in the plate when it is still steaming hot, and you put it in that plate. You are releasing xyloestrogen into that soup. For you, for 6 weeks, please do not do that because if you cheat or if you do anything contrary to this instruction, you will not be able to achieve my target healing point. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
And that is the grammar too much for you.
No, I'm
Is the
here.
grammar
I'm coming.
if the grammar is too much for you? Tell me. Oh. Yeah.
More,
Because
more.
even me now, I'm having headache.
You don't have it.
Because I don't want these chemicals to enter your body. I want you to heal, okay? Even that fibroid, I don't want you to just continue to have fibroid. I want you to heal, okay? Now, I talk about natural infection management because the bacteria in your system is now resistant to most antibiotics. If you notice it from the result you sent to me, but I've told you nature has a tool that works differently, and these tools will disrupt the biofilm that bacteria will hide. And one of them is raw garlic. I know you would have been using garlic before, but now use it according to what I'm telling you. Raw
I've
garlic.
used it
If
with
you take 1 to 2 cloves and crush it, swallow it on an empty stomach every morning. They are lysine in the raw garlic. Please try to buy local garlic. Oh. I don't know if all these machinations by Mr. Bill Gates in Nigeria trying to alter our garlic and our ginger. I don't know if it has affected where you are now. Try to buy real garlic, real Nigerian garlic. Okay? The allicin in that garlic is one of the most potent natural antimicrobials that is known in science. Again, you can use unrefined coconut oil, 1 tablespoon, morning and night. It will provide what is called the caprylic acid and also the lauric acid. Now, these acids are powerful anti-candida. You don't need to be taking antibiotics, okay? You can also take probiotics. I've talked about probiotics. You have your fermented kogi water. I tell people to drink the fermented tap water, okay? You have your unsweetened yogurt. In fact, when some issues persist, I used to send my own starter. It's called L-Reuteri. I can also send the bifidobacterium starter, for my patients from here in the UK. I send it to you so you start making your own yogurt. You don't have to buy. Just get coconut milk and make your own yogurt. Our temperature permits it. It's easy, okay? If I can send you L-Reuteri and you use it for 2 weeks, you will experience a dramatic change in your gut. You'll be surprised at, So now maybe somebody will come and tell me he's healthy, but the person is on medication. It's not health, it's virtual health. If you have health, if you experience health, you will not want to die. Anyway, that's a story for another day. So if you can again, you can take a quality lactobacillus supplement. You have to go and get a good probiotic from the pharmacy store. My aim is because I want you to rebuild your gut microbiome. So any way you know to do that, you can cut your cabbage, chop it in a glass bottle, add 1 or 2 spoons of apple cider vinegar, cover it and leave it for 3 days, and you start eating it. You can soak your unripe plantain, chop it, put it in a glass jar, add water, 1 spoon apple cider vinegar, leave it for 3 days, and you start eating and drinking the water. It's not sweet, oh. Oh, I'm sorry, it's
I'll
not
be doing
sweet,
that
oh.
one.
Fermented
How this one be taking that one.
So, is it sweet when you are taking it? It's not sweet. Now, all these things
In
I'm telling you now, you will take
in
them.
fact, that you think that you are drinking palm one that first
Thank you
day,
so much.
and
Thank you.
for
That's
the
how it
second
will
day we
look
now
like.
start class. Mhm.
Yeah, that's how it will look like. Okay.
Yes.
So, as regards to your adrenal recovery, we are going to take a small pinch of unrefined sea salt. I used to suggest Celtic sea salt or Himalayan salt, or you can go to the market and buy local salt from the women, and just add a pinch of it to water every morning because of your sodium balance. Remember, and you can also eat magnesium rich foods. That's where you have the pumpkin, you have the dark leaf greens. These things will support your adrenal function. And most importantly, please, I want you to sleep. Just make sure that before 9 or 10 p.m. that your lights are out and you are in bed. Okay? Because the adrenal glands recover between 10 p.m. and 2 a.m. So every night that you steal your sleep, you are doing yourself a disservice. You are causing a disrupted hormonal issue. Now, the next is for liver support. That's the fourth pillar. And that's where lemon water, when you wake up in the morning, it comes in. In fact, that lemon water, you can add um, a pinch of that salt to it in the morning. You can take up to 2 glasses. You can also, if you want to strongly, because you have had series of antibiotics, I will suggest you buy dandelion tea. Dandelion tea is to help to, support your liver and the activities of the liver. Another one powerful one that you can find is milk testo. Apart from dandelion tea, I think even milk testo have a higher rating than dandelion tea, but I think dandelion tea is more common and you can find it in Nigeria easily. So take that. You can take that in the morning and as well in the evening. Okay, you can add some uh, spoon of turmeric. If you find turmeric, you can add it, use whenever you want. Okay, remember that these things we are targeting will be able to solve the problem in 6 weeks. That's our target. So don't make me a failure, please. I beg you, in the name of God. Okay, and we have 50 is to restore your skin from inside out, and that's why I talked about this thing. Zinc rich foods, pumpkin seed, sesame seed, eggs, beef, omega-3 fatty acids from oily fish. If you can lay hold on oily fish, the salmon, the mackerel, please do well to buy them and add them. Or you can buy a supplement of omega-3 and add it to your protocol. Okay? And what you apply on your skin going forward will be shea butter with neem oil. So if you know shea butter, it's just for you to go to the pharmacy and get neem oil. Neem. Neem is dogoyaro, if you know.
Okay.
So dogoyaro have oil as well. So add it and use it. Or if you can't find it, you can also look for tree oil. When you get 3 tea oil, you can use it and add to your shea butter and let it be your own moisturizer. Okay, I don't know the name of the ones for women I used to say in Nigeria. I know all those things above. They try to change them. You understand?
Yes, sir.
Now, the part that nobody talks about I want to say something that I feel very strongly about, and that is something that most medical consultations ever touch. Okay, there is a research, peer-reviewed, published research showing that chronic emotional stress, unresolved grief, suppressed anger, prolonged fear, these things will create an inflammation. I know nobody would have told you, but I want to ask you, Ada, is have you had anything that have made you angry? It could be relationship with a friend, it could be with a spouse, a husband, it could be with a parent, it could be. Has there been anything that made you so angry or that made you to grieve? Maybe you lost your mother, you lost anybody, and you are in grief and it's been tears. Or have there been anything that have caused you emotional stress? I want you to heal from that because if you allow these things, it will alter the conditions in your body. It will dysregulate your immune system. It will disrupt your hormonal signaling. It will contribute to the kind of environment that will allow fibroid and will allow infections to grow. So now, I am not saying that emotions cause fibroid. I'm not saying that fear cause fibroid. What I'm saying is this: that you cannot fully heal the body while leaving your heart untouched. Many of the women I see in my practice, women carrying fibroid, cancer, women dealing with chronic illness, when you speak to them long enough, when they feel safe enough to speak honestly, there is almost always something that has been carrying silent with them. A disappointment that they never fully grieved, a relationship that broke something inside of them, a season of their life that felt like it crushed them, and they kept going because they had to go, because there were people depending on them, because they were strong. But strength without release becomes tension, and tension, when you hold it in the body long enough, becomes a disease. So healing requires release. So I prescribe three things that will cost you nothing, and science also supports this thing. Please, 10 minutes of deep breathing daily. When you wake up in the morning, sit up in your bed and breathe deep breathing for 10 minutes. What is deep breathing? Count to four. When you breathe in, count to four as you are breathing in and hold it for another count of four and pour it out for another count of four or six. So count to four as you are breathing, then hold it for four and then count 4 to 6 as you breathe out. If you do this for 10 minutes a day, you will reduce the cortisol level, you will activate your body's nerve, your body's internal healing pathway. And again, I talk about gratitude journaling every morning. That gratitude journaling is important. If you don't have anything to be appreciating God for, at least this lovely bed that you are raising, whitish and healthy bed, please give them to the tap. Be happy to God that you have beds that you are raising. I'm just giving you an instance, okay?
Yes,
And
sir.
again, you need community. You need community, so do not carry this alone. Share your healing journey with one trusted person and have faith, have connection, have community. These things are soft additions to healing, and they are also a foundation to healing. So, because of want of time, I'm supposed to be on my way now to Wooly. I I believe I've shared deeply with you, okay? Please, if you find anything
Yes, sir.
as an issue based on what I have shared with you, do well to report on my WhatsApp and I will get across to you. Because I have to cash out now, otherwise I'm going to miss my train. Okay? So just share anything, and if you have any question as to what I have shared with you now, please put that question on my WhatsApp and I will get back to you in the next 1 or 2 minutes.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay, sir.
All right. All right. So thank you so much, and I appreciate you for using this opportunity also to educate some of my followers. I pray that in these coming 6 weeks, all your worries will be put to an end. In Jesus' name, amen. I'm not a prophet, though, but
Amen.
a friend.
Amen. You are pastor. Pastor indeed.
Yeah, I'm
God
not a
bless
pastor,
you,
but I
sir.
have to act like one sometimes. All right,
Oh,
that I'll speak with you soon, okay?
oh, you're welcome, sir. Remain
Yeah,
blessed. Thank you so much. Bye.
amen. Yeah.